and we had participants from Spain, Germany, Turkey, Belgium, and myself from the UK.
And Sweden.
And Sweden. Oh, yeah, we had Mahfoud studied in both Spain and Sweden, so that was also a good contribution to the group. So we started the discussion by talking about the university system in each country, whether that was for a disabled student or a sighted student. And yeah, we talked about how some countries allow students to study for free, whereas other countries students have to pay a little bit, often with support from the government. The UK have to pay £10,000 a year in tuition fees, but they do get support from the government. So we talked about that, and then we moved on to talk about what support that visually impaired or disabled students get at university. And again, this was interesting because the system was different in each country. For example, some countries didn't seem to give much help at all. Others provided an assistant to the visually impaired student who had already completed the course that the visually impaired student was studying. And in Spain, the assistant was a volunteer. So I thought that was quite interesting because in countries like the UK, that type of assistant would be paid. But in Spain, it was voluntary. Yeah, then we moved on to talk a little bit about special schools for the blind and visually impaired in each country, so we just touched on that. Each country does seem to promote integration with visually impaired and sighted students alongside each other, but each country does also have special schools, and often these are for people with visual impairment and additional disabilities. We then talked about, well, it soon became apparent that not only are the university systems different in each country, but also each university seems to be different in the country. So, for example, in the UK, there are many different universities with different support systems in place. And so we talked about how Views International could support visually impaired university students. And Beatrice made a really good point, which was that Views International doesn't just support university students, they also support people who are working, people who are seeking employment, and there should be no separation, and I think that reflects the equality of Views International. But we talked about how there were lots of online projects and websites out there where people have written about university experiences in different countries as a visually impaired student. Claire from Turkey has one particularly, where she's compiled data not only from universities in places like the UK and Spain, but also in places like Turkey and India. And she has agreed to link that to Views International. And we concluded by saying that there are a lot of resources out there for students, whether they're in university, going abroad, or seeking employment, and that we should be combining these resources to work effectively together. Thank you for listening again.
So, thank you for your